This is the concierge, sir.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Concierge Confidential. I'm your host, Brian Ortega, and in today's episode, really great message I got from a gentleman named Daniel. It's him and his wife's anniversary coming up in August, and he actually had a really cool message for me asking, a lot of people on social media are talking about how Vegas has had a downturn, Vegas is this, Vegas is that. It's a lot of negative stuff. And is it still worth coming to Vegas for his anniversary? Is it a good place to still go? And the first thing that I said to him in this message was, Vegas is what you want it to be. There are certain things you have to come to as a reality that Vegas really isn't, I would say, a budget-friendly destination anymore. There are certain things you can do. You can come at certain times of the year. You can look for certain deals. But in the long run, Vegas is going to be somewhat of an expensive trip, especially if you're going to be traveling on an airplane, especially if you want to stay in a nicer hotel. We have resort fees that add up. So there are lots of fees you have to deal with at certain points. But as long as you come in knowing that it's going to be maybe a more expensive trip than you'd usually go to in different parts in the United States. Like I know, I could go to Washington D.C. and the most expensive thing I'm going to pay for is probably the hotel rooms, maybe the flight, but they have lots of free attractions that they have to go there. So it is one of those cities that actually, once you get there, there are lots of affordable things to do in that city. New York is very similar to like traveling to Las Vegas. There are going to be a lot of expensive things built in to that specific location. So just keep that in mind. Think of it as a major city in the United States. Los Angeles, New York, Vegas. I would all put Miami. I would put kind of in the same idea in terms of what you can do. But we do have things here that can be affordable. But if you are here to celebrate like a milestone, like an anniversary, I think Vegas is a absolutely fantastic place to do that, and there's many ways to explore the city itself. So I talked to him about this, that I would message him back with some a text message of what we're actually talking about here. But I thought it'd make a really great episode of planning an anniversary or a special occasion for a couple, obviously, for this type of occasion. So he wants to know tickets for the Sphere, for the Wizard of Oz. How would that work? He wants to go see the show O, which I do have pricing for that, as well as maybe an alternative, just because I wanted to throw it in there. And then great restaurants. So I actually would love to have Daniel as a guest, because he said that he doesn't mind spending some money on good quality food, not trying to get like the absolute craziest thing, which most of us aren't. Like, we're not trying to get super nuts. We want to be a little bit more economical when it comes to dinner sometimes, but we want to have a good meal in a good atmosphere. That's really key for me, is having a really good atmosphere, because dinner really isn't about the dinner. It's who you're having it with, which is something I just heard from one of my Fountain Blue trainers, which I thought that was a really good line that I used it. So we're going to be diving into that for creating an anniversary worthy trip to Las Vegas. Okay, so let's start with one of the ones here that was one of the first ones on his list. So he's going to be staying on the north end of the Strip. So this is going to be around like the Venetian area, Venetian Palazzo. This is the north end of the Strip technically, which is actually great. The Venetian, off the bat, fabulous hotel. It actually is great because you get many things inside of the Venetian. You have, because the Venetian and the Palazzo are connected, it's also within walking distance with a bridge to the Sphere, which is great. They have many shopping attractions. They also have lots and lots of restaurants, so many restaurants between the two properties, and the rooms themselves are absolutely stunning. They're all suites. So for those of you not aware of this particular little quirk, all the rooms at the Venetian are suites. So they're going to be, when you walk in, there's going to be like a living room or sometimes an extra bedroom. Not a bedroom, but an extra, that's where one of the beds goes. And then you keep going, and then there's another bed. Sometimes it's sunk down, which is cool. And they also have floor-to-ceiling windows. For the most part, you're going to get a strip view, either looking south or north. And now it's become a really popular view, is that you also may have a view of the Sphere, depending on which side you are. It's really funny that the Sphere being built has now become the more expensive side to request than the actual strip itself, which is nobody would have said that, 10 years ago about staying at the Venetian. But the rooms themselves are fabulous, whether it's at the Venetian or the Palazzo. They're almost identical. I believe the Palazzo are obviously upgraded, of course, but both rooms, fantastic. There's not a bad room to choose from. Really great spot on the Las Vegas Strip. Obviously, if you're trying to go to places like the Bellagio or Paris, it's a little bit further away, but very doable, especially if you want to hop on. You can't get the tram from the Venetian, but it's a really great location, and it's really fun because you can watch the construction of the Hard Rock Hotel across the street, which is something in itself of just seeing the Hard Rock being built. It's massive. So one of the first things that he was asking about was that they were interested in seeing The Wizard of Oz. So The Wizard of Oz has become one of the most popular daytime attractions in Las Vegas, especially during the week when we don't have shows for artists, like Monday through Thursday. We might have 3 shows, 4 shows a day at the Sphere itself. I think it's usually 3. I take that back. Usually it's like 2, 5, and 8 o'clock. On the weekends, sometimes they'll have 3 shows starting at 11. It'll go like 11, 2, and 5. Obviously, the earlier in the day options are going to be more affordable, but everything here, I would say, is going to be over $100. So we don't have like $85 seats. Most of the seats here are going to be $120 and up. The first thing to know about the Sphere, and for those of you that might want to, follow along with me, if you go to just type in Sphere Las Vegas, it'll be the first thing you come up. You'll click on it. The Wizard of Oz will be the first thing you can buy. Just go ahead and look at a map for me. But just so everybody knows, when you're purchasing tickets for the Sphere, they do not sell the entire Sphere, although it looks like they're selling more stuff now. That's crazy. But they do not sell the ground floor. They will not sell the ground floor. Because everything is on the screen itself. There is actually like no stage, essentially. So they will sell sections, the 200, 300, and 400 sections. Personally, I would say anything in the 200 section or the 300 section. And there's also multiple sections across. So they'll have like section, for example, to pull it up here. They have section 303, which is the furthest to the left, all the way to section 301. So just for everybody's information, the most expensive section is going to be the 306 section in the theater. So remember, 306. 306 is the middle section of the Sphere, same thing as the section 206. These tickets go for about $250 per person. The reason being, this is the Glinda the Good Witch section, I believe is the name of it. Let's see what it says. Yeah, Good Witch Glinda and Good Witch Glinda the Good Witch. Very interesting. $300 is what I'm seeing for these tickets. So everybody likes to point to these as like, this is so expensive. Well, it's because this is the most in-demand section, and you might be asking why. The reason section 306 is the most expensive section for the Wizard of Oz is because that is primarily where the wind machines will be shooting against during the show. By the way, spoilers for what goes on in The Wizard of Oz. Honestly, not that big a spoiler because you know and have probably seen on social media what it looks like, but these are spoilers for what's going to go on in The Wizard of Oz. But don't worry, it's still a great show. It's fantastic. So, section 306, the reason it's so expensive is because it is in the middle of the theater, obviously. It is also where the wind machines will be blowing the hardest, so it feels like you're in the tornado. And it's also where you're going to get leaves and all these other things that add to this immersive experience. Also, this is the most important one because this is the reason people love going and they always want to walk away with these. This is the section where they will shake apples in the movie and apples will fall from the ceiling onto section 306. So these essentially are the only reasons to sit in section 306 is so you can get the wind blowing you straight in the face and it's far away. So just to be clear, the wind machines are giant wind machines on level 1, the base of the Sphere. They're on like big giant machines. You'll see them. They're not directly in front of your face, and they blow very heavy to that section specifically. So that section will receive most of like the wind, obviously all like the fake leaves that they have in there, and then later in the movie they will drop apples from the ceiling. So it'll end up in that section, which you're highly likely to get those seats. But if you would like to cheat this, what you can do is you can actually sit in section. It's also there too. So section 305. The closer you are in section 305 to the middle, the closer the price is going to be to what it is at section 306. So even so, as we go further away, it's still $250. And also, if you get so now, once we get to section 304, which is 2 sections away from the very, very middle of the theater, that is still going to be good seats. Those are $134 per person, plus taxes and fees. So you're looking at about $150 a person for those seats. When I saw this, I think I saw it at 11 o'clock, and this was like closer to when they opened. I think I got 2 tickets for like, I think it ended up being like $200, which is quite doable. So as we get out further away from the middle, then we start getting cheaper in price. So yeah, even when you get to section 303, which is the very furthest end, that's $134 for those tickets. I do not recommend sit that far away. You do not want to be the very far edge, but you want to be to like essentially where you are sort of kissing towards the middle. So a really good example, this is what I would explain for everybody. I sat for these seats. I sat in section 307, which is to the right of the very middle section in the theater. When I got those tickets, it was same day, by the way. Those tickets were like $115, $110 essentially. I'm looking at it now that section 307 is going for $250. So that's like a very specific day. That's Saturday the 2nd. So let's go ahead and look on like a Friday. Let's look at a Friday at 11 a.m. I'm looking on March 13th. This is in a week from now. So as you look at 11 o'clock, let's see what we got here. So the tickets go down. So as you go to the 11 o'clock times, they tend to go down a bit, except for that middle section. But that's sort of like the golden area. I would want to be, if I was purchasing these tickets now, kind of looking at how it's oriented, and this one actually doesn't go all the way to the end. Section 305. If I was sitting here now, what would I do? Because this is 11 a.m. on a Friday. I would want to sit in section 305 or 304 if it was available. That's what I would do. Or you can go up into section 405, 406, 407, and you can find tickets there for $144 plus tax. So you're looking at about $160. So just for everybody's information, there is not really a bad seat at the Wizard of Oz because they always put you in prime seating areas. It was very interesting that one of the ones opened up the extra sections, but probably because it was the weekend. But keep that in mind. So they have times at 11, 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. I would say that this is definitely worth going to see if you've seen The Wizard of Oz before and you want to see it in a unique and different way. It's a very immersive experience for sure. I honestly did not really want to go see this. I was like sort of like a film head, and I'm like, oh, like there's all this AI. Be prepared to look at the screen and say, that looks kind of weird. It's because a lot of the scenes that actually have single camera shots have been, very close up, have been stretched out. So they've, had to put, stitch things around where it becomes like sort of a wide shot. So it's not exactly how it's intended, how the film should be. But it's made to be one of those. It's made to fit what they're trying to do at the Sphere. It is wonderful. The absolute most fun part for me, which is like the magical part of the experience, is when it goes from sepia tone Kansas into the Land of Oz, where it turns Technicolor, and it's beautiful. and it's a really magnificent experience. I ended up staying with my mom, who's in her 60s, and she absolutely loved it. It's honestly, the Sphere is her favorite venue overall. Like, she will go see really anything there if I ask her, like, hey, let's go see this. But yeah, it's great. So honestly, not a bad section to sit there. I would say, like, I'm looking at this 406 row 22, which that's kind of far up. That's $109. There's not a bad seat here. People dress up for this. I don't know if that's your thing, but it is definitely something that you can also do themed drinks. So they have something that's green. They also have a red drink as well for the ruby slippers. It is a very fun whole thing overall. I think it ends up being, the doors open 45 minutes before, and it ends up being like, I think 100 and something minutes. Let's see. Not that long, I'm sorry. So it doesn't say how long the show is. But the movie itself is actually, I think, like 15 minutes shorter than the actual film itself. So keep that in mind as well. But yes, it's definitely worth it. I would highly recommend doing it. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing until we put it in other little spheres. But I would say The Wizard of Oz is a definite must if that is something that you'd be interested in seeing in Las Vegas. And again, 3 times, 11, 2, and 5 p.m. I like doing like the 11 o'clock or the 2 p.m. one because they're cheaper. That's why. How much is the 2 o'clock one? Just out of curiosity. Yeah, the 2 o'clock one, they open up some seats. Yeah, so like, for example, I would go do the 2 o'clock one based off of this, like, March 13th. These have seats that are like right next to section 305 for $130. So very doable. I would do that. Yeah, just do that. Just do that instead. So let's move on to the next request. So his next request was for O by Cirque du Soleil. So O is the most popular Cirque show in all of Las Vegas. It is one that constantly, not sells out, but is sold pretty much to almost being sold out. This theater, I would say O and Ka are the 2 Cirque shows in Vegas that are worth seeing in town because they cannot travel. Everything that's for these particular shows have the stage incorporated into the show. So, for example, O has this water stage that also has platforms that raise and lower, and it's something that can't be replicated. They've done documentaries on this particular show and this stage specifically. It's a very elegant show. You can tell by how the theater's set up. It feels, I wouldn't say romantic, but I would definitely say that this is more of a relaxing show. It's very classy on the inside. It has all these like beautiful like blue motifs and then the red chairs, obviously. They do have somewhat of a balcony, which is pretty far up. The thing about Cirque shows, which is important to remember, by the way, Ka is like a martial arts show, and it actually takes place on this big giant platform, a stage or a table, if you will, and it will lift up. It will rotate. It'll actually tilt to the side. So it turns into like a mountain, for example, where people have to run up the side of it. People slide off the side. They shoot bows and arrows at it. It's a really, really unique show in its own right. And it's a little bit cheaper than O. But an important thing to note about Cirque du Soleil shows, almost all of them that are still in Las Vegas, you do not have to sit very close to the stage to appreciate the entire show. Cirque shows are meant to be seen further back. This is also how we used to sell lots of tickets. But you don't have to sit like in Golden Circle, for example. Some theaters do have slightly obstructed views, but that's because of, if they're too far to the sides, essentially. But you can sit further back and still appreciate the show. They don't usually talk in Cirque shows. So you don't have to you don't need to be close like how you are at like a Broadway show. Like for me, for example, I want to sit close to the action at a Broadway style show where they are singing because it really adds to the experience that it's live, that you're right there with living human beings. It's not a movie. Movies you can see further back because they have speakers. Here, you want to see the faces change. You want to see them singing and really belting, and that's something you want to see close. For Cirque shows, you can definitely sit further back, doesn't matter where it's at, and have a great view of the stage. So for these particular seats, you do have to kind of look around. They do have usually two times. So they have a 7 and a 9 o'clock, or what's the other time for this day? 6:30. So they have a 6:30 show and a 9 p.m. show. So that's kind of the two times that you're working with. And that kind of depends on whether you want to have like an early dinner or like a later dinner. But let's look at it really quick. Let's look at the 9 p.m. show. Typically, the later shows are going to be cheaper than the early shows because a lot of people want to do the 6:30 show so they can either go to dinner after or they don't want to fall asleep. So, for example, this 9 p.m. show on Thursday, March 19th, again, just doing a little guessing here, they have seats in section, oh my goodness, I have to click on these. In category B, section 20, so looking at this, the middle section is, oh my goodness. The middle section is 203. So just to the right of it is section 204, which would be, good seats. These seats are $208 plus $20 in service fees. So you're looking at $228 for these seats. This show is very good. It's good for everybody, middle America, people who don't like a lot of cursing, obviously. This is a very elegant show. It's a show for people who are from overseas who may not speak English because, again, no speaking. It's not going to offend anybody. It's very straightforward, beautiful show where a lot of the acrobats and the stuff on stage does basically all the talking it needs. So this is a wonderful show. Would highly recommend it if you want something beautiful and luscious and nice and very high quality. It's death-defying for some of the things that they're doing. If I can recommend something else to get you in the mood for your anniversary, my favorite show in Las Vegas, and I would like you to keep in mind that those tickets, the two tickets that you were looking for, and those tickets are category B. So essentially, what are these going to be? Just out of curiosity. Yeah, so these seats are category B. They have a category A, which those tickets would be those are producer seats. Those the Golden Circle are $255, and those are category A, I believe. Yeah, Golden Circle. So that's the top tier. It's $255 plus tax. That's $275. So let's go ahead and look at my favorite show, which is Absinthe. I love this show. Absinthe is a wonderful show, especially if you want to have this is always kind of a fun little barometer. So people used to love to go to the Sands to watch Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sam Davis Jr. in the Copa room at the Sands Hotel. And it felt like you were in your own little club. You had the hottest seat in town. These guys would go off the handle. They would tell jokes. They would sing. That they can sing, but they would also, joke around with each other. They would they would joke around with people in the theater itself. They would drink, obviously. It felt like a happening for adults. This was not where you're going to no kids are going to be here. So I like to think of that like Absinthe. Absinthe is sort of like the hottest ticket in town where adults go, that it's always here. So looking at this show, it's in the round. So it's at Caesar's Palace, which is sort of the middle of the strip. And it's going to be in a big giant tent out front. And when you get in, so I ended up looking up April 16th. So April 16th at 9 o'clock, they have two shows, 7 o'clock and 9 p.m. And sometimes they have a third show at 11, depending how late you want to get and crazy. Their tickets, let's just go through these. So their theater is in the round. It's very small, very intimate theater. It's kind of all on the same level, maybe with a slight incline, but very slight if there's anything. It's very wacky. This is a very adult show. There is cursing. There's a teeny bit of nudity, not a lot. It's not over the top. It's not like a burlesque show, but there is maybe a slight bit of nudity. Very vulgar language. They do have crowd interaction. So the gazillionaire, who's sort of the host of the show, he's going to talk to the first 2 or 3 rows in this theater 1,000%. So keep that in mind. So let's just look at it. So the first 2 rows for this theater are going to be section 1, and then the 2 rows are A and B. So if you do this, these are $212 plus $20 in fees. This is the closest seat. There is nobody in front of you. You will get picked on. Yes, I can tell you now, they will make fun of your ethnicity. If you have a certain religion that can be, obviously seen, they will make fun of that as well. I've heard they've toned it down just a little bit. If you are an interracial couple, they will make fun of that. If you are an older man with a younger woman, they will make fun of that as well. So this is just a little taste of the type of things they will pick out. So if you are not comfortable with that or comfortable with vulgar language, very vulgar language, this may not be the show for you. But if I've gotten you this far, let's look at the next section of seats, which is the ones that I'm interested in. These are the gazillionaire circle seats. So these are going for $193 per person. So this ends up being about $210. So it's going to be slightly cheaper than O, but you are going to be in essentially the 4th row of this particular show. So you're actually getting much closer and then much closer and a little bit cheaper. You don't have to be that close. The next seats that I would recommend, these are actually a good amount away from the stage, but with a really good view still of the main stage. These are going to be in the, I can't pronounce it, it's something terrace tickets. And these tickets are going for $173 a ticket. So these have, they have $18 in fees. So, oh my goodness, we're going to have to do math quickly. It's going to be about $200 a ticket. So that's $400. And then if that is still, not up to your fancy, we can look further back, which is 2 rows from the back of the theater, which I don't recommend these because they're pretty far back, but these are $150 a ticket. These are called the Green Ferry Gallery, which is further back. These are $150, so you're looking at about $170 for those tickets. So, as you can see, the tickets for Absinthe are quite comparable to the tickets for O, and I think Absinthe is a little bit better of a show. In terms of being Vegas, like if you're like, I'm in Vegas, I'm going to go see this show. Absinthe is fantastic. And I haven't even talked about what goes on the stage after the gazillionaire has gotten off. They typically have, it's a very high quality variety show. A lot of things that you've seen on, say, America's Got Talent have been on this stage, and vice versa. So one of the signature acts is this couple, or I think sometimes it's brother and sister. They are on roller skates and they spin around and then they put their roller skates around the gentleman's neck, and they spin around super, super fast in a circle on this very tiny stage. They also have a thing with a gorilla that dances very sexy. I've seen tap dancers. They also have a balancing act. I think they've also done like an aerial acrobatic act as well, which is really, really fun. And I've never seen the same show twice. I've seen multiple shows here, and they've always been a little bit different than the other. So I love comedy, and I think the gazillionaire is hilarious. He could make fun of me if he wanted to. I would be totally cool with it. But this show, to me, is the best show on the Strip, and definitely worth being on like an anniversary, especially if you guys are like a little bit edgy. This, like, just get a couple drinks in you, and this is a fantastic time. Also, for those of you who want to look extra cool, hopefully this is for Daniel and your wife doesn't listen. Although if she wants to listen, maybe not to this episode, because I'm going to tell you a secret, which will make you look even more cool. Once you walk into the Green Fairy Garden, which is in, you don't have to have tickets, by the way, to go into the Green Fairy Garden, which is the big, giant, done-up area where the tent is. You just have to be 21 years or over. Go into the Green Fairy Garden, and you're going to look as you're looking to the theater where the main entrance is, the tent. To the left of that, there are some hedges. Inside of those hedges, just follow the little trail inside. There is a speakeasy there called Pier 34 or Pier 61, whatever. It's Pier 34, I believe. And in Pier 34, they have a beautiful area outside to enjoy a cocktail. They also have a bar area inside of that space where you can have a signature drink or just any drink of your choosing. And then once you're finished with your drink, or maybe if you want to take it in, they have a special entrance that actually looks like a British style phone booth. Go in there, and that your entrance into the Absinthe Theater. So this is a really fun way to sort of, show like, hey, like I know kind of what's going on. By the way, for those of you that are interested to see how you get to the speakeasy area at Absinthe, make sure you check out my Instagram, ConcertsConfidential_LV, and scroll down to the bottom. It's the Green Fairy Garden is sort of like the profile part of it, or the cover photo. Click it, and I will show you how to get to the speakeasy inside of Absinthe. And also for those who use TikTok, at Keys to Vegas on TikTok, and make sure to follow us at both those places just to be able to get any updates as we go through. So that is Absinthe, one of my other favorite spots. If you choose to not go to O, I would say this is a very worthy first option. Second option, if you'd like to go to that. So keep that in mind. Also, my favorite one, and we haven't even gotten to this part. This is my favorite part. I love recommending restaurants. It's my absolute favorite thing to do. Of all the things I do for Concerts Confidential, it is the best. I would also say, kind of a quick tangent here, this podcast, because for those of you that listen to the last podcast, I've gone back into concierging, and we're kind of going through training right now. This show has actually kept me the sharpest going into trainings because I know where a lot of things are already. And doing this show, you kind of have to go out and check things out. I've done a lot less exploring because I've kind of finally done it, and I go to a lot of the same places again, but I have sort of seen and done a lot of the things that I like to talk about, and restaurants and bars are my number one thing I like to do. So he wants to go to a few nice dinners, or a nice dinner, so I will give you options. This is my favorite part of the podcast, to be honest. So let's go over the Venetian options first, because that's how we work. We work from your location or where you're staying at outwards. So you have many options to choose from. It's actually going to be almost too many options. So I will give you some of my favorites. So one of my favorite nice restaurants that's not going to break the bank. It's like, I would say it's definitely like 3/4 dollar signs. This would be Delmonico's, which is it's in the restaurant row of the Venetian and the Palazzo. It's Emeril Lagasse restaurant. They make fantastic steaks, really good desserts, but I think it's very affordable when it comes to, fine dining steaks. I think this is a great place if you want to celebrate celebrate your anniversary dinner. I would say it's definitely classic steakhouse vibes, so just keep that in mind. Really, really love it. If you wanted another place that, even though I would say I really like this steakhouse. Would I say that you feel special? It feels special from other steakhouses. I wouldn't go as far to say that because it is part of a chain, Smith & Wollensky's. I think Smith & Wollensky's, even though it is a chain steakhouse, is an absolutely fantastic steakhouse that has great sides, lots of great options with steak. They do offer lots of shareable items. I think Smith & Wollensky is absolutely top notch. So let's just say that you want to do something slightly off the beaten path. You don't want to do steak. You came to Vegas to try something different. A place that I found that was really, really good is Chica over at the Venetian. Chica, which does like Latin cuisine. I don't want to say Mexican, Latin cuisine, because they do stuff that's Peruvian, Venezuelan, Mexican, and it is a really great choice. It's a really fun restaurant. They have a really fun dessert, which is a flaming skull. It's chocolate, essentially. And if you want to see that, check out my socials as well, because I do have a video of that on there to show you. And I celebrated my brother's birthday there, and they have really unique flavors. And if you are sort of a foodie, this is a really fun place to sort of test your chops, because they have so many great dishes on the inside. I think this would be a fantastic option for a fun, unique sort of dinner. I wouldn't say that it's going to be, classic white tablecloth. It definitely feels a little bit more laid back, but it's still great for a nice date night for sure. So as we kind of go through, I'm just trying to remember anything that's here. Also, if you want to do sushi, Because again, I usually would ask a lot of these like probing questions, like, "Hey, do you like this?" But I kind of just went off on it. I really love Wakuda, which Wakuda is a fantastic Japanese style, a Japanese restaurant, and they have a place called the Golden Gi, which is a wonderful cocktail room. It's inside of Wakuda, so when you walk up, Kim is the hostess. Tell Kim that I sent you because I love sending people over there. But just say Brian from Concierge Confidential sent me and see what happens. But they have a wonderful menu, really fantastic sushi. If you're not a sushi person, they all do have like chicken teriyaki on the menu. They have a really great pork dish on the menu. They have regular white rice. I think they do have like a very expensive steak options. A little pricey, but it's there. But I love their cocktail room. It's a great place for a cocktail, especially if you're just going to have maybe drinks and then go out. This is a great place. Daniel did let me know of the ages that they are, which they are in their mid-30s. And I think this place is a fantastic place for people in their 30s. It's not going to be like a nightclub, but it has a DJ in it, but good vibes, good music, great cocktails. They can make anything that you want. They're very experimental. So if you wanted to get a little bit nuts, they are ready to go there. I think all the bartenders here are absolutely fantastic. So really love the Golden Gi Cocktail Room. Is definitely a good choice to go into. So love Golden Key. So I've only done places at the Venetian. So let me explain a couple places that I would say that are worth going to have like a great dinner. I really, really love at Fontainebleau, and it's not just because I work there now, but Mother Wolf. Mother Wolf is fantastic Roman Italian cuisine, lots of pastas. Just keep in mind, it's not like a chicken parmesan kind of place. They're not going to do chicken parm. They're not going to do like spaghetti and meatballs. They do authentic Roman Italian cuisine. The pastas are hand rolled. They do not go through a machine. The pastas are silky smooth and fantastic. You can feel the love and care that's taken into it. My favorite dish there is their short rib pasta, which is very hefty, very hearty, dish that's going to fill you up. I usually recommend that dish, and then like a cacio e pepe, which is perfect for two people. You're almost going to say like, I want more food. Same thing. Their limon pasta is okay, but I do love their orange blossom flowers, which actually come with ricotta cheese on the inside. They're lightly sort of tempura fried, and they have great tiramisu. I really love Mother Wolf. It feels cool, and it feels very cool, very LA chic. On the inside, it has like these like pastel pinks on the inside, very airy room. Absolutely wonderful. So would highly recommend going to Mother Wolf for dinner, like a whole ass dinner. It's so good. So we did talk about them going to places at like Caesars and the Bellagio. The Bellagio, it's kind of hit or miss. It depends. So they do have Carbone Riviera. If you really wanted to go a little bit more top tier in terms of like your anniversary dinner, I would say that Carbone Riviera is top notch. They do Italian cuisine with a Mediterranean flair to it, so lots of seafood. So keep that in mind. I would book out as far as you can when it's possible, just because it's hard to make a reservation. But beautiful room, very old school, big, thick columns on the inside, beautifully decorated. Absolutely fantastic view of the Bellagio fountains, and their menu is not so terribly priced. You can actually and it's also very large. They have lots of items on the menu. They're known for their spicy rigatoni. It's not my thing, but it's one of their most popular things on the menu. It is very, very spicy for me. It's very spicy for me, but they do have a good steak on the menu. They have a lobster on the menu, which is actually very doable. Not the lobster pasta. That is the thing that's like crazy expensive, but they do have, I think, lobster tails. They can also do different types of seafood pasta as well. They have great bread service. It's very delicious. Make sure you check on the menu for that, just because it's been a while since I've been in there. But the menu is extensive, so keep that in mind. But I went in there. They know how to make a cocktail, thank God. And it actually is a beautiful restaurant. It's Carbone Riviera. Really wonderful. you don't have to go here. I just like recommending it, but I mean, it's like something like if you want to feel like you're like kind of getting a little weird with food. Jasmine, which is Chinese cuisine, it's a very like 1990s Chinese menu, but like done super well. Like they have like Mongolian beef, they have lemon chicken, they have all these types of dishes that are like, oh, this is like super Americanized, but they just execute them very well. And the room itself is beautiful. The room looks like a place where somebody would have their anniversary or their honeymoon. It's like the plates are like legit china. They have big giant windows. This place, and you can make a reservation, is so nice. Like the food itself is, I actually like the food. The food's very comforting to me and kind of doable in terms of pricing, and you can share. Not lots of people like to do Chinese food for anniversary, I get it, but I just like to mention it because I love the vibes. The Mayfair Supper Club is going to be an expensive experience, but let's just say you don't want to do like you don't want to do like another show because, it adds up. If you do that's, $220 per ticket, that ends up being, $440 for a show. For $440, you could go have a really good dinner at Mayfair. I think the food at Mayfair is just fine. But the reason you're going to Mayfair is for the food as well as the entertainment. The entertainment is new, so I can't vouch for the entertainment. But it's lots of dancing. It's very loud. It's going to be, I wouldn't say it's going to be like your classic romantic dinner. It's going to be a vibey, vibrant dinner with dancers and people dancing, singing, live band. It's very loud in there. So just keep that in mind. It is a very loud experience. But if you want to have entertainment and food, this is an option to choose. And if you ended up not doing the show, this might be a good version of dinner and a show if you wanted to do that. Everybody knows I would recommend Delilah's, but Delilah's very hard to get a reservation for. So I don't want to like super duper recommend it, but I think Delilah's is top notch. They have classy performers, they have a great bar, and I think it's awesome. It's also great just to have a cocktail at. So like if you end up wanting to go to like the Wynn just for like an evening to walk around and check it out, I think that would be a great choice. So highly recommend Delilah's for cocktails. Go to the Bubble Bar. Maybe you'll see you there. You'll see me there. Who knows? Especially if it's a weekend. It's cool. If I see this group, if I see Daniel at Delilah's, you'll notice me. You'll see me. I'll be at the Bubble Bar, usually on a Friday, but neither here nor there. If I see you, I'll buy you a drink. If I see you, you have to see me though. Keep that in mind. Man, that'd be awesome to like run into you. That'd be sick. So I think I've given a good amount of recommendations. I know it's a lot to kind of take in, but I was very excited doing this. I'm also in concierge mode because I was doing like my training. What is this? Interesting. Ooh. There's a new bar called Oh, yeah, this is what it's called. For those of you at the Venetian, there is sort of a speakeasy inside of their food hall. It's in the back. It's called Close Company, and that is their speakeasy, which is like, let's read it. It says, get ready for shamrock and roll at Close Company, gets lucky, your favorite neighborhood spot transformed into a festive Irish wonderland. Oh, I get it. So Close Company is their speakeasy, and it is being themed for the Irish one, St. Patrick's Day, which is a big event in Las Vegas. Anyways, that was off topic. So hopefully, Daniel, this was helpful. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. But I think this is a good starting point for your trip to Las Vegas in August, which, again, make sure you take advantage of all the pools that we have here. So, again, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Hopefully that was helpful for anybody planning a trip for an anniversary or maybe like a honeymoon or anything, or a divorce party, which this probably wouldn't work for you. But hopefully that works out. Make sure you guys reach out. Make sure you guys check me out on all my socials, ConsciousConfidential_LV on Instagram, as well as Brian_Ortega26. Got some movie content out there as well. And then also check out TikTok at Keys to Vegas for TikTok. So thanks again, everybody. Really appreciate it. If you'd like to leave a comment or leave a review and subscribe or follow or whatever you'd like to do, that would really be helpful. I really appreciate it. But again, if you see me out in town, come up and say hello. But remember, Keep it confidential.